Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rohde. I am joined alongside my good friend and co-host, Tony Cepeda. I am reporting from Marco Island, Florida. I am on a trip with my girlfriend and her family, but the game does not stop. We are here for training camp day one. Tony's got all the information. He's going to lead the topics, and I'm going to give my comments. But we are here today, training camp day one. Little exciting, little crazy, a lot of drama already, and I like how Matt Eberflus is handling it. So, Tony, kicks off the day with the drama with Robert Quinn.
Yeah, so Robert Quinn did not attend, and the first day of the mandatory mini camp, and it sounds like he will not be attending anytime soon. And so it sounds more of an indefinite leave of absence, whatever you want to call it. There are reports that he is away from the team training on his own, is what it is. So it's not necessarily a holdout. It's kind of just, I'm sure he's not happy with his contract situation, exactly like what their plans are for him for the future. I'll just kind of start with my take real quick on it. Obviously you want your whole team together. I don't see Robert Quinn as a core piece going forward. Not that he's not because he's not good or that I don't want him on this team. He just makes a lot of money. So I think they're going to try to trade him. We saw what the Bears did, obviously, trying to, gain more draft picks in the draft and Khalil Mack, just everything they've done so far. I can't see him being on the Bears for too long in the future. So I'm okay with other guys getting reps at his position. He'll come back. He'll if he does end up, week one, he'll definitely get at least a sack and a half. Like, he'll be fine. It's just, it's not the end of the world to me. I hate that it's a distraction. I will say that. I hate that it's a distraction. Otherwise, I don't really care.
It makes sense. He wants to go to a contender. He's expressed that he wants to get traded. And, there's talk on Twitter that now people believe that Robert Quinn does want to get traded. I don't blame him in this situation. I think the Bears should get maybe at least a second and a fifth out of it. And his contract's what hurts us. I like how Eberflus, again, is handling it. I think he's handling it in a professional way, kind of saying, hey, that's Ryan Pohl's category. I'm coaching the team that I have put in front of me and the guys that want to be here today. So I don't mind it. I think that the Bears are doing all the right things and kind of saying, hey, he's doing his thing. Eberflus has talked to him, and I think that's a big thing and that there's some communication. But if Robert Quinn wants to train on his own, he's the oldest guy in the linebackers room. We just went over that in our previous episode. So, and he's got $24 million on the cap this year. The Bears have $22 million in cap, and teams are going to look at that and go, hey, the Bears can chew up a lot of it. We don't have to chew up as much of it because they have a lot of cap left. So if he holds out, he gets paid, but at least the Bears aren't losing any more cap money. But he'll come back. This team looks really good so far. And that's kind of what I want us to go into next about the defensive line, especially Justin Jones and Dominique Robinson. Both of them look really good today. So I'm not too worried about Robert Quinn. I think, again, he's a veteran and he'll get his fine, though. He's going to get fined by the team because he is not showing up to training camp. But I think Bears fans, we saw this coming for a long time, unfortunately. So that is all I'm going to say on that subject. So, Tony, what's going on with Justin Jones and Dominique Robinson?
Yeah, so they are, they definitely are showing up, unlike Robert Quinn, to mini camp. They're kind of, getting their, Dominique Robinson at least, getting his footing in the NFL, obviously, as a rookie. And they are, it sounds like things are going well. So before we kind of get into this, I love kind of the first couple days of training camp, mini camp, whatever, on Twitter. I think it's my favorite time on Twitter, and the season's fun, obviously, but I'm watching the game. I know what's going on, but I love these random Bears, reporters. They got their binoculars from, behind the bleachers, whatever, or they're sitting in, in the bleachers because they got a ticket for, the media. I kind of just love following along like that. I don't know what it is. It almost feels like a newspaper because I'm reading it. Maybe that's just me. That feels like a weird, maybe a weird analogy. But I kind of like it. I'd like to think we'll be that one day. We'll be tweeting these things out and you guys will be following along with us too.
I will say that before I'll start making some comments on Justin Jones and Dominique Robinson, is that the Bears are not allowing fans this year, which they did last year during COVID, which I thought was kind of strange. But there's no fans going to training camp as of right now. They might do a weird drop or whatever. Tony, did you hear about fans going or no?
No, I did hear that it's
media though.
Yeah, media. I mean, it seems to be because people were tweeting up a storm today, so it must be. That's all a little weird. I don't understand. It's different, obviously, with Nagy and John Fox and these guys we've had where everything's been a secret and everything, or it's not and everything's in the open, but sometimes it's a little too in the open. Matt Nagy again. Sorry for mentioning his name. I know. I apologize.
Ron does not like Matt Nagy.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Ron. Yeah, the last time we'll mention him. Totally. I promise. But yeah, no, I didn't hear anything about fans. But what I did hear about is, like you said, our boy Justin Jones. So he feels it. I'm sure you saw
He
this.
looks good.
Yeah, he feels at home. According to, I believe this was Matt Eberflus. It kind of paraphrasing him. He feels at home as the Bears' new 3 technique, and he sees his fit in this defensive identity. It lends to his athletic ability, and he's just going to get better and better and better. That's a heck of a
He looks
quote.
lean. I mean,
that's an awesome quote.
So I retweeted it off just another year Chicago. He looks mean. He looks fast. He's able to get around, the pad defenders that you see out there. So he looks really good. And I think that Justin Jones is going to be more of a veteran help, even though he is only 25 years old. Mm-hmm. He's going to be the guy that's going to be up the middle. He's going to look good. I know that the Bears also just released Jeremiah Attachu. We talked about that yesterday and brought in Mike Pennell, who was on the Bears last year, but due to injuries was released. Then went to Kansas City because of the connection with Ryan Poles. So I think Justin Jones is going to do a fantastic job, especially with some of the veterans. The defense already having some weird swaps and then the Robert Quinn situation. But he's also helping Dominique Robinson. You can see that they're communicating. Dominique Robinson is obviously a rookie out of Miami, and he could be the steal of the draft, according to a lot of analysts. So stay tuned for that. But they both look really, really good. And Jaylon Johnson with a pick 6 today. Justin Fields had a rough day. We'll get into that in a minute. But Jaylon Johnson looked really good today. And I know that he wasn't at a lot of OTAs and that concerned fans. And he actually was running with the 2s for a while, but not after today. He had a couple pass deflections. He had a pick 6 that he took to the house easy. The defense looks really up to speed already. And that was expected because Matt Eberflus is a defensive-minded coach. And there's going to be a lot of growing pains on the offense. So, Tony, any more comments on the defense before we move to the offense?
Just my quick Jaylon Johnson comment. I think it's a little, especially in the pros, it's a little, I don't know if cliche is the right word, but kind of when he comes in, he's with the 2s, he's with the backups, he's got to earn his way back. And we all know he's going to be the 1 again, but maybe it worked. It seems like it kind of, lit a little fire under his butt, although we know he's good anyway. So it's not like, he wasn't going to do this either way, but it kind of seems like people are, they're buying into Matt Eberflus, and that's all you can ask for. Cause obviously we've had some real duds as coaches in the past. All I ask is they buy in, they give 110% in one direction. And then if we're just genuinely outplayed because we don't have the players or whatever it is, that's at least not Matt Eberflus's fault, So, but speaking of Justin Fields and also Justin Jones, because his little veteran leadership, kind of like you said, he said of new teammate Justin Fields, he has a command and leadership on the field, a legit field general. I'm really excited about the season he's about to have. Well, besides that one, like we said, pick 6 that he threw to Jaylon Johnson. But it sounds like a lot of the offensive woes weren't necessarily his fault. Obviously,
yeah, a lot of them were drops.
Obviously, it starts with a quarterback, whatever. I get all that. But like you said, it was a lot of drops. It just sounds like it was a little sloppy in general. And it's kind of to be expected, I guess. You're kind of, doing install and really you're just getting going. Everyone's kind of getting their feet under them. It kind of sucks. I wish.
First day of camp.
I do wish it was like, dude, things were crisp. Justin. Now, again, I'm not going to hate. It's not really, definitely not Justin Fields' fault necessarily, but I do wish it was, oh my gosh, Darnell Mooney was housing balls left and right, even if it was on Jaylon Johnson, because we know he's obviously a fantastic corner. So it'd be okay if, it'd be a good sign if he was just, sunning him like he did to Jalen Ramsey. But yeah, go ahead, Nick.
And also I want to put out there really quick is that Darnell Mooney looked fantastic today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. And same with Velus Jones Jr., both of them. And Darnell Mooney even had a good comment about Velus Jones saying this guy brings a lot of energy and he is scary fast. And Darnell Mooney looked really good too. He's his 3rd year. It's his 3rd year on his 4-year rookie contract. So he's going to want to start putting up numbers to get that bag once it does come up for re-signing time or extension time. But both of them looked really good. The offense didn't look bad. It's just that they're getting their feel. This is an entirely new playbook for these guys. And that's something that's going to take a lot. Same with the offensive line, which Tony's going to get to in a minute. But any more comments on the wide receiver core, Tony, before we move to offensive line?
Yeah, my last one is just on Velus Jones. It's exciting. So I have this feeling about him, and I might be totally wrong. And I know a lot of people hated the pick, and I know people are not as excited for him as maybe we should be. I don't know. I have this feeling that, I'm a big fade the public guy. I like to go against the grain a little bit because, a person can be smart. People are typically stupid. So it's kind of just this feeling of if everyone hates it and he has to be bad and whatever, not only is he going to have a chip on his shoulder, they must have saw something. So and it sounds like we keep hearing, this is the fastest guy I've ever seen in my entire life. This is insane. He's like Tyreek Hill. He's like this. He's like that. There's got to be something. As long as they're smart enough, Luke Getsy, whoever it is, on using him in a fun package like we thought. Obviously, a couple of the speedsters we've had in the past, like we thought Matt Nagy was going to use like Taylor Gabriel and Tariq Cohen, obviously a little different because he ended up getting hurt. But I'm excited. That's I think who I'm excited to see grow the most. I know Darnell Mooney, we kind of know what we have. We know he's going to keep getting better. That's one that I think could really shock us, and that would be very fun. So you mentioned the offensive line, Nick. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd call any of this news. This news is bad. Dakota Dozier was carted off.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate, of course. Obviously, that news is bad. But then, so the first team offensive tackles remain the same today for the start of mandatory minicamp. Braxton Jones and Larry Borum are the starting tackles, which is interesting because I don't think we expected that. I'd like to say I didn't. I don't know if you did, Nick.
I like that they're pushing Tevin Jenkins and they're showing that and it's kind of sending a message to the rest of the team that like nothing is guaranteed. Tevin obviously looks good. He's been getting stronger, like losing some weight in the offseason, but nothing's guaranteed. Braxton Jones obviously is doing something that we're not seeing yet that's impressing coaches. But I like the starting five for the offensive line as of now. I think that it will end up becoming Tevin Jenkins at the end of the day. But Tony, why don't you go through the starting offensive line so everyone knows what it is?
Yes. So it is naturally
right tackle Braxton Jones, left tackle
right
Larry Borum.
Yes.
Right guard Cody Whitehair.
Yes, and left guard Lucas Patrick, because the center is still it seems for now Sam Mustipher. Put me on the spot there. I apologize. I did not have that in front of me. I don't know. This might be a bad year for them. That's fine. It still scares me saying it out loud every time.
They have to give Sam Mustipher a chance. I think like he still has the right to be the center of this team. And also it gives the opportunity for Lucas Patrick to, if worse comes worse, you have to swing him to center. And then Braxton Jones can go to guard. Braxton Jones has played guard or offense or tackle. So he's a swing player, which is great. But it's going to be growing pains for the offensive line. I'm just happy they have the right side of the line figured out at least. And then if they have to move center around, but yeah, it's weird. So just Bears fans, you got to be patient with this one in regards to the offensive line. And it's the first day of training camp. Matt Eberflus is going to be watch him throw Justin Fields with the twos for a minute, and everyone's going to lose their little minds. So not little minds, but they're going to for that moment in their mind, they're going to go, "Oh my God!" So
I would lose my little mind.
Stay tuned for that.
I'll tell you that.
Tony would lose his little mind. Yeah. So the offensive, it's going to be crazy. It's a whole new playbook. And I think that's just what people have to understand. But Dave Montgomery looked good today. Khalil Herbert looked good today. And the tight ends also looked pretty good, all things considered. It looks like from the videos that I saw, it's going to be a big blocking tight end scheme, but Cole Kmet's going to be the star in regards to receiving. So stay tuned for that. But Tony, any more comments on this team after day one before we close out?
I'm just excited. It's basically football season. I know it's not, but it basically feels like football. We had a nice little little break for NBA and NHL, baseball and stuff. It's football season, baby. Football's back, and I'm excited. I truly am. Until my heart is finally broken again, I'm just gonna keep getting my hopes up, because what else do we have in this crazy, crazy world? Otherwise, we're just biding our time until death. So let's just get our hopes up and let's just do it again, man. Let's just get our hopes up.
Yeah,
screw it.
Absolutely. So day one is concluded. That's the information that we know. We hope Dakota Dozier is okay. It was a serious injury that he had to get carted off. This is the extent of the injury. We do not know, but we will be posting on our Twitter and Instagram with all updates. So please make sure that you follow both of those. But with that, thank you very much for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody, joined alongside Tony Sapita, and we will see you guys next time.